Well, let's move on to the next topic, shall we? Costco is suing Donald Trump. Now, technically, I misled you a little bit because it's not that Costco is suing Trump the person. Costco is suing the Trump administration, which is really weird, but it actually makes perfect sense. Let's go ahead and read into it and you'll see why. Fennec says, you have my attention. Yep. Let's see what we've got here, and let me move myself over here so we can read just a little bit better. Alrighty. So, Costco Wholesale has sued the Trump administration, asking the Court of International Trade to consider all tariffs collected under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act unlawful. Okay. So, as you know, a lot of businesses, a ton of businesses who got affected by Trump's tariffs have not been doing well because of the tariffs. Now, I'm not saying Costco's not doing well, but United States industry has actively suffered under the Trump administration. Nova Winter says, all I heard was Costco being based again. Love Costco. Yeah, I feel like I want to celebrate this by going to Costco right now and downing a fucking hot dog. But unfortunately, it's 11:20 p.m. Costco is closed. Okay. The company said in a filing Friday that it's seeking a full refund of all duties under the act paid as a result of President Donald Trump's executive order that imposed what he called reciprocal tariffs. Because the IEEPA does not clearly authorize the president to set tariffs, the challenged tariff orders cannot stand, and the defendants are not authorized to implement and collect them, Costco's lawyer writes in the lawsuit. The Supreme Court is reviewing the legality of Trump's sweeping tariff agenda. In oral arguments in early November, justices appeared skeptical about the government's case to even let them continue. So, like, one of the main things that Trump ran on, tariffs, one of the most beautiful words in economics, tariffs. The Justice Department, not the Justice Department, but the judges right now do not know if that was even a legal thing for him to fucking do. And that's the thing that he ran on. That's one of the things that he was so fucking proud of. Both conservative and liberal justices asked tough questions to Solicitor General D. John Sawara, though some of the conservatives seemed more sympathetic to his arguments. Okay. Trump became the first president ever to use the IEEPA law to impose import duties. Lower courts earlier ruled against the administration's use of the law, but kept the tariffs in place while the case was argued. So that's one that it's weird to me, and I would like to say is bad, but I actually agree with keeping the tariffs in place while it's being argued. The reason I agree with that, as bad for the economy as the tariffs have been, we've used tariffs in the past. They are not an evil thing in and of themselves. The reason that keeping the tariffs in for the time being is the right move is tariffs only work if everybody involved in the tariffing process, being tariffed, imposing them, etc., thinks that they are going to be a thing that we have to deal with for the next 5 to 10 years. Tariffs are a thing that countries can impose, and when we're having our conversations about trade with other countries, if we have a tariff there, those are actually going to be the part of the negotiation. If a country does not know if tariffs are going to be blinking in and out of fucking existence, they're just not going to trade with us. It's not a smart idea to trade with a country whose prices on everything and whose tariffs they impose on you are going to be rubber banding around like a fucking N64 game mini-boss. This is the type of thing that needs to be long-standing, that everybody thinks is stable in order for it to work. Yeah, tariffs can't do what he wants them to do. So tariffs can if they are lower and if the tariffs are constant and not reciprocal. Reciprocal tariffs is the problem. Telling a bunch of countries, oh, if you do X or Y, we're going to impose tariffs on you. That doesn't fucking work. What works is having a set of tariffs set up so that you can try to bring more trade into your own country. Tariffs are not evil. Tariffs are fine when used correctly. Costco does not say in the filing how much the duties have cost to the company. Importers have paid nearly $90 billion under the IEEPA law, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection. Jesus. In May, on Costco's earnings call, Chief Financial Officer Gary Millership told investors that about a third of Costco sales in the United States are imported products. Millership said items imported from China represent about 8% of total U.S. sales. So if a third of the goods that come from Costco are being imported, then a third of the revenue from Costco has been impacted. And Costco is a multi-state, gigantic operation. That is not a small amount of money. If a third of the money in Microsoft disappeared today, execs would freak the fuck out. Obviously, tariffs do not take away a third of your profit, but that's just to give you an idea of the scale we're looking at. Millership said that while Costco was seeing a direct impact from tariffs on imports of some fresh food items from Central and South America, it decided not to increase prices because they are key staple items for its customers. Costco being based again. Costco is a fucking fantastic company. Now, again, I recognize they are a giant company. There is evil that they do, blah, 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 blah. But at the same time, there are few companies that I've seen operate better under the Trump administration than Costco. Costco has actively said they are keeping in their DEI practices. They have actively said that they are going to be keeping the wages of their employees as good as they possibly can. They are actively trying to make sure that these negative impacts to their sales do not trickle down to their customers. Like, in the tier list of evil corporations, Costco is significantly less evil than the other ones. In September, let's see here. Some of the fresh food items that were impacted were pineapples and bananas. They said we essentially held the price on those to make sure that we were protecting our members. In September, Millership told analysts that we continue to work closely with our suppliers to find ways to mitigate the impact of the tariffs, including moving the country of production where it makes sense and consolidating our buying efforts globally to lower the cost of goods across all of our markets. Through the end of October, the government has collected about $205 billion in tariffs. With Friday's lawsuit, Costco became the latest major company to seek tariff refunds through the courts. Global cosmetics giant Revlon, eyeglass maker EssilorLuxottica, motorcycle manufacturer Kawasaki, and canned food seller Bumblebee, and Japanese auto supplier Yokohama Tire, and many other smaller firms have filed similar suits. Now, I want to ask you guys real quick if you know about, and I'm going to throw this on screen here just because it's what I'm going to be talking over. Do you guys know about what Trump said that he was going to be doing in regards to these tariffs with, you know, the average everyday citizen? He said that there would be a effectively means-tested $2,000 rebate that would be handed out to every United States citizen, effectively. He said that. Those are words he said. We have gotten no information on whether those checks are going to be coming in the mail at any fucking point. Here, let me go ahead and see here. Trump 2K check. Let me see here. Bloomberg saying that the $2,000 tariff. Okay, so that's not giving us information. Courier Post. Are we getting it? There we go. That's the information that I'm looking for. Continue to cite. Alrighty. There have been lots of rumors floating regarding President Trump's idea for the $2,000 tariff dividend payment, a fourth stimulus check in December, and who qualifies for the possible IRS refund when it may be paid. In November, Trump vowed to issue a dividend check to individuals of moderate income sometime in 2026 before the midterm elections, adding that we've taken in hundreds of millions of dollars in tariff money. We're going to be issuing dividends later on, somewhere prior to, you know, probably the middle of next year, a little bit later than that, of thousands of dollars for individuals of moderate income and middle income. The president also expects his administration will pay down some of the growing national debt. He says the tariffs allow us to give a dividend if we want to do that. Now we're going to do a dividend. And we're also reducing the debt that we have because of Biden and others. We have $37 trillion in debt. Now, obviously, you do have to take into consideration that the national debt in the United States tends to be better managed by Democrats than it is by Republicans. But regardless, that's not super important for the conversation right now. The fact is, he's basically tried to say that we are going to have dividends going out to Americans. Now, Later on, I remember he's actually said that those dividends may be paid out in different ways, so we wouldn't actually be getting a stimulus check, but the ways that those would be given out would effectively be not fucking anything. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see, is it in here? Trump floated the idea of using part of the government revenue to return to the taxpayers. The tariff rebate check was then introduced as a bill by Senator Josh Hawley that would send checks between $600 and $2,400 to American taxpayer families, but it hasn't passed as of Congress. Trump's $2,000 tariff dividend is still being floated with no formal proposal and little details thus far. He's made it clear that the payments would not be issued before holidays this year, but rather sometime in 2026 before the midterms. Of course, he's going to do it as close to the midterms as he can, because by having that check go out in the midterms, he's going to increase the likelihood people are going to vote for Republicans. After all, if Republicans get the vote, then it's going to be because people were so happy that they got those rebate checks. Lenari says he'll keep pushing it back. So he said such things as those dividends may come in the form of, you know, lower taxes and other things, which is not the same thing as getting handed $2,000 fucking dollars. I think he's not going to fucking do it. But you know what? Selfishly, if he does send out the $2,000 dividend checks and we all get it, do I just do a 24-hour stream on that day trying to, like, convince people to give me their dividend checks? All right, guys, I know you just got your money, but streamer's gonna stream. I feel like that would be such a fucking asshole thing to do, where you just have, like, a streamer who goes, I know you all have money. Like, is that the thing that, that some landlords tried to do, where the minute that we got dividends in previous year stimulus checks, they tried to raise rents going, we know you have the money, effectively? Like, that's such a brain dead thing to do. So the idea of a streamer trying to, like, lean into that, I don't know, maybe it's just because that's the job that I do, that my brain immediately goes, like, what would be the most corrupt way a person could do this? Toothpick Vic says 100% scumbag behavior. Yeah. That would be scumbag behavior for somebody to go, I know you all have extra money. Gimme. If that money comes, I'm going to use it to pay off debt or something, or get some BDSM stuff. Exactly. If you're getting fucked over by an administration, then that money goes to you. That money goes to you. You don't hand that off to another person unless you're actively trying to, like, get a friend out of a bad situation that them getting the check also didn't help them get out of, effectively. Oy, oy, oy. But again, these dividends seem like they're going to be coming out around the time, if they end up coming at all, around the time that we are going to be seeing the midterm elections, because that would be the apropos time to do them if you are trying to get people on board with the Republican Party. Token White Dude said streaming is a little less bad because it would be willingly given rather than kind of blackmailing your living situation. Understandable. Yeah, it's worse when a landlord does it. Absolutely. But I still see it as, like, not thinking of the audience there and saying, like, hey, could any of you use this money more than me? Because as far as I'm concerned, by the time that these dividends come out, I won't have to worry about any of the Christmas expenses that I'm worrying about right now. I'll basically be at net zero aside from a car payment. So I can't think of anything that I would even spend the money on at that point. And I know for a lot of streamers, like, there's certainly ones who do not make a lot of money. But for my situation, I feel like it would be, were I not in dire straits, in pretty scummy behavior. And thanks to my own audience, I'm not in dire straits anymore. Toothpick Vic says, I suggest making a list over the year of the good and bad things that happen and then refer to it when it comes time to vote. It's too easy to forgive and forget. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, one of the worst things about our current political climate in general is that we are dealing with politics in the age of TikTok. We are dealing with politics in the age of YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels. We are dealing with politics in the age of fast information leaving your brain as quickly as you put it in, and, like, actual brain rot. It's super easy for somebody to forget the transgressions of the past right now because they've got quite literally endless entertainment. And with the advent of AI, it's literally endless entertainment. There is no shortage of people who are just manufacturing content whole cloth without actually putting in any effort that people still find entertaining. So we live in an age uniquely where the options are endless and the ways to distract yourself from politics are equally endless. And that's scary when it comes time for people to vote, because those same brain-rotted people are the ones who are going to have power over all of us. That said, I'm not about to say to remove that power from anybody. Absolutely fucking not. The answer to that is education, not doing what Matt Walsh wants and removing people from the voting pool. So he says, so much poor content, so much content. Jessica says, I just don't want to live in this country anymore. I don't either, but I own my house. I'm not in a position where it's financially expedient for me to do anything other than my current living situation. Axo says, my distractions from politics is fictional politics. Yeah, go watch Arcane Season 1 and lightly forget Season 2 exists. There's plenty of politics there for you. Anyway, that's what's going on with the tariff situation right now. Costco is suing Trump. Trump has promised dividends to everybody. Those dividends may or may not materialize, and if they do materialize, they're going to materialize in the most politically expedient way possible to try to get more Republicans to win their ballot races. That said, let me know what y'all think in the comments section below, and I'm going to make my pitch to y'all again if you haven't heard it already. If you value honest and fair political analysis that tries to make politics less miserable to digest, then do me a favor, subscribe to my channel, and hell, tell a couple friends what I'm doing over here if you like what you're seeing. That said, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitt, you know I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Sereth, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.